was up with that intro, man? Surprised you're sitting next to me. I missed one fucking week, and this is how you come at me?
No, it was surprise I'm sitting next to you because I don't think we talked about a mask off.
Oh, okay. I got a little sensitive right there.
I figured. I could see. That's why I didn't look at you through the whole intro. I just looked down because I was scared.
I did go to a New Edition concert, and I had Ralph talking to me about sensitivity.
Your hands are soft.
So, all right, so you're right. So you're right. It is a surprise. I forgot to mention the mask off.
Yeah, because
and here we are.
Yeah, I noticed the emails come in. I thought, yep, that's on us.
I'm only apologizing to Jonathan and Mac. They get read every week, and they wasted that headspace.
There's a lot of that. And
we got a mask off. Tell the people what a mask off is.
Yeah, we do have a mask off, guys. And for those of you that are new here, and we typically get those on our mask off, what a mask off is when we bring somebody in. They do something better than we do it. They are far more skilled at what it is they do.
Every time. We've never had anybody on here where we're like, oh, I could do that better.
Yeah.
Like Two Wolves Forge. You know what I mean? We look at it and go, we could do that better. No, we never can do it better.
No, we cannot. And so we bring them in, we sit them down, and we get to know a little bit more about them. And we peel that mask off, and we chat with them. And so to our mask off guest, what is your name? Who are you? And what is it that you do?
My first name, Chase. Last name, Schaefer. What is it that I do?
Yeah.
I do a lot. But,
but why are you here?
Why am I here? Let's peel that layer off.
Okay.
We breed Carnivore Corsos, the Italian Mastiff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you watch canines fuck is what you do.
You know what? More so, we've even collected on our own, which is that's
no shit.
You want an experience? Let me tell you.
I didn't know you had to do that. So
we don't have to do it, but it's.
I mean, why not?
We get to.
I personally am more of the voyeur in the whole thing. I hold the dog. I don't grasp anything of genitalia, but
story you tell us. But that's not something I had in my notes, so I can't wait to talk about that. I'm going to
fire away, no pun intended.
When we have a mask off on, we like to warm them up with some innocuous random questions. So we're going to throw some at you.
Throw it at me.
What's your favorite appliance?
The refrigerator.
Why?
It holds the food.
It holds the food.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one.
The bosom
it's
of the
right
kitchen.
there. It's the belly. I look at it as the belly,
Okay.
right? It's just there. It's not too attractive, but it looks good, right?
Last time you wrote a check?
Last time I wrote a check, probably like 2 years ago.
Okay.
No, I'm going to say 4 years ago when we got into this home.
Okay.
I was writing checks to all the people fixing this place up.
Okay. Do you take checks as a business owner?
Oh, yeah, we take checks.
Okay.
We still do.
All right. Best concert you ever been to?
The Cure.
What year was that?
Would be a good one.
Let's see. My wife and I went to the Cure. It was probably 5 years ago at the Maverick Center.
Favorite Cure album?
Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite Cure album per se. I can't give you a favorite of. The Cure to me was like fantastic.
Okay, so
I was a big AFI fan growing up, and like they all kind of went hand in hand, right? That like it was weird because I wasn't like that. I wasn't like an emo kid or anything, or like I didn't wear like all black and like look sad all the time. But I really liked the music.
So, Chase, you missed that because I only asked you your favorite Cure album, so I could tell you my favorite Cure album, which is Disintegration. Because on that you have Pictures of You have Fascination Street, you have Disintegration. Yeah.
I was gonna say, what was your favorite song?
I go Pictures of You.
Pictures of You.
Yeah, the long version, the long intro, the 3-minute intro.
And they created the long intro.
It is beautiful, man.
They created it because everyone thinks like Guns N' Roses was like the band. They created that long. No, it was The Cure.
Oh no, I think who created the long intros? Papa was a Rolling Stone, The Temptations. That intro is pretty long too.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like 7 minutes.
No, it's not 7 minutes, but it's damn long.
I mean, you really have to like really enjoy The Cure to enjoy that intro. But just like Heaven,
good one.
Gets me every time. We can't make eye contact if I talk about it.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get to talk about it. But I know the feeling. I just
yeah.
experienced that. Do you know how to debone a fish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. And last question, only question for me is, which era do you wish you were born in?
I mean, I was born in the 80s, and the 80s rocked. I love them. You look back, and you're like, man, times were so simple, right? But I actually wish I was born in, like, the Old West. The Old West would have worked well for me.
So, like,
I'd have done well.
Late 1800s?
Yeah, probably, like 1883. I'm talking about it then. Because I'd have talked to the people, like, on that kind of show, that kind of thing, and been like, why? Why go to Montana or Oregon? We're here in Texas. Let's just stay. We're good.
Especially if you had some of these monsters with you got out here, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Badass.
Would have been all over it.
All right. Okay. And our mascot guest always introduces us snaggles. What are we drinking today?
Hammer Spring Bourbon.
Is it good?
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Very
Isn't it?
smooth.
Uh-huh.
Very smooth.
All right.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Easy. And guys, as always, our Snaggles is brought to you by, I'm going to switch over a screen real quick here. First and foremost, Tiger Claw Tattoo. They're over there in Mill Creek, 801-410-4245. If you have something that you would like permanently placed on your body, make sure you reach out to Tiger Claw Tattoo. They do some of the best work actually, in the state of Utah, in my opinion. And they're willing to share that talent with you. So check out Tiger Claw Tattoo, guys, over in Mill Creek. Also, we do have MVPJerseyFraming.com. Any update on your
my newspapers?
Newspapers, yeah.
No.
Okay.
Last time I talked to him was right before I went to the concert, and he said, "By the way, I have your newspapers." I was like, "Yeah, I know. I gave them to you. Don't lose them. Don't get a web." So I have when Red Sox won in 2004, I have that newspaper, and then I have also when Barry won the presidency, I have that newspaper, and I wanted to get him. I didn't want to get him framed. He told me to frame him, and I still don't have him. So no, but my doghouse is done.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So MVP Jersey Framing, guys, if you have anything that you want framed up, go check him out. And last up, we have Kick Rocks. They are Instagram.com/KickRocksClothing. He's always coming out with some new styles, new artwork. Check out Kick Rocks over there for some beautiful.
It's supposed to be doing me a hoodie.
Urban wear.
I got a custom hoodie coming if he's got time to make it because he's busy.
Yeah.
You know, he does all this stuff. Everything you put on, he touched. Yeah. And it's his design. And they're one of a kind designs, most of them too. Like my bleach shirt.
Yes.
And so he's got this hoodie coming up for me. I'll put that on our Instagram when we get
nice. I'm excited to see that. Does great work, guys. So go check him out. And that is all that we have. We do have Chase's. So it's at Utah King Corso, and that is on Instagram, correct?
Correct. I'm going to correct you, though, on how you pronounce it.
I know. I was just going to say, because I say King Corso, but you've been saying
Carne
asada.
Yeah, Carne Corso.
No, there's no R in
There's
there.
no R, though.
Carne.
You said...
Well, that's close.
It's Carney.
Not Carney.
Oh.
Carne. Yeah.
What is
like
that?
if I was friends with Kanye West, I could say, like, hey, Kanye. And he'd be like, that's what he calls me, right?
Okay.
So it's Utah Cane Corso.
Cane Corso.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, it is, spelled cane.
Cane Corso.
Yeah. So a lot of people will be like, come up and go like, hey, I want a cane. And I'll be like, oh, bro.
Not for you.
So those are the ones that...
you haven't done your homework.
You funked the first test, right?
You funked it.
That's me. Cane Corso.
Those are the uneducated ones. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
What does what does Carne Corso mean?
So all it actually translates to is like guard dog. Basically dog and then guard. So guard dog.
So carne means dog in Italian?
Carne means meat.
I'm going to fuck it up all day, man.
Rough translation, just guard dog.
Guard dog.
Yeah.
And they ain't fucking around with that description either.
No, not at all.
No.
Tell me about the history of the breed. It's a Mastiff, right?
It is a Mastiff. So it's the Italian Mastiff. And a lot of people will be like, whoa, wait, what about the Neapolitan Mastiff? Well, the Neapolitan and the Cane Corso, newsflash, were the same dog way back when it started, right? There's a lot of different names in Italy that they were known by. Cane Depressa, Cane Corso. It was a dog that was on farms. It was a utility dog, right? So oftentimes when you have utility dogs, those people don't care what you call it. As long as it works, that's what they care about, right?
That's what it's there to do.
So years and years and years ago, Southern Italy, you've got farmers, you've got hunters, you've got even dog fighters using this breed. They varied in color. Their colors were specific to a lot of tasks that they were doing. So if you had a dog that you wanted to be around the homestead or the farm and it was chained out around your property, you used the black one. Why'd you use the black one? It's hard to see at night.
Okay.
Right? So it could surprise people.
Okay. Did the white one stay in the house? Is that what?
It was reversed. Okay. It was reversed. They're like, what? We don't.
They don't come in white, do they?
No, they don't. The closest color to a white would be a straw, or you see, like you saw some of ours. They're red.
Yeah.
There's darker versions and there's lighter versions. Those dogs with the lighter color coats, those were your hunters that would go out in the wheat fields and clear boars and hogs and things like that didn't need to be there, because they felt they were masked by their color, right? They were camouflaged. The colors back in the olden times were a little different than they are nowadays, right? Nowadays, colors are more restricted by standard.
Okay.
If you're into showing your dog and keeping up with the American Kennel Club standard of what the Corso is.
Okay.
But you have a lot of working kennels, like ours. We don't necessarily care about the standard of color in the sense of like we breed for color. Never bred for color, never will.
Okay.
They mean something in history, but now it's more of just like window dressing, right? So if you get like, you saw our big guy Zero, people look at him like, I want a blue, right? Or gray, you can call it either one. We didn't breed for it, it came out. Like, so
you guys separate from the Neapolitan Mastiff, which I got to say reminds me of ice cream, Neapolitan ice cream. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to say the Corso.
Cane.
God damn it.
Sorry.
Is probably the baddest name out of all the dogs. Like Doberman, Rottweiler.
We'll
those don't roll off the tongue.
Corso.
We'll
just say Corso.
Those don't roll off the tongue. Dogo Argentino, that's a bit cumbersome for the mouth. German Shepherd, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just such a pretty name because the Italian has that's the love language, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So it's a pretty name for a dog. So, but I'm going to shorten it down to Corso.
Corso.
So they peeled off from the ice cream dog.
It's more so the ice cream dog peeled off from the Corso.
Ice cream. So the Corso, some sort of
that's the mainstay
formation of that dog, some sort of variation is the mainstay. So the Corso is closest to its ancestor, and a Neapolitan, the ice cream guy, is something totally different.
Correct. The modern day Neo is
a fat slob.
Yeah, it really is. It's just, it's like if you looked at a bodybuilder and we're like an athlete, right? You're like, that guy's not functional, right? That guy can't run a 40-yard dash because he's just this giant, sloppy, muscle-bound nothing, right? Mm-hmm. The Neo.
Your word's not mine because I know some big guys that can move. So
yeah,
his name's Chase.
That's the same.
Okay.
All I have to run is 41 yards, right? So we're good. We're solid. They went off and it happens. It happens in pretty much every breed where they break off and they create something that they think is going to be better, which I'm sure they had that theory when I would hope, but it's turned in now to pretty much just a companion.
Okay.
A Neo is just, it's unfunctional. You'll have some people that still own what they call a traditional Neo, which it's a Corso, right? It looks just like a Corso in a lot of ways. There's different variances on tail docking and things like that, but it's the same dog.
I said that out there. I think it was Zero I was looking at. And I said, he kind of looks like a Neo in the face. And you're like, well, Neos come from these. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And most people don't, but it's there. If I stood one of my dogs next to a modern day Neo, they're distinctively different, like in every shape of, just the way they're built, the function, their attitudes, like completely different.
I'm going to say this about Zero. Like, I think I've seen big dogs in my life. Like, you see big people. Neo, looking at him, was like that picture of Yao Ming and Shaq next to each other.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Zero.
Yeah,
Zero is Yao Ming.
You got a Shetland pony out there, and I'm still not convinced that's just not another Corso in disguise.
He was gigantic. His paws probably would have filled up my palm.
Yeah, Zero is an anomaly. So most males are going to be like, right, big males. Mm-hmm. Like you saw one of our other stud dogs, Fonzie, and Fonzie's a big dog. He's 135, 140 pounds. And if you would have just saw him, you probably thought, well, that's just a big dog. Zero comes out. It's like meeting Shaq, right? For the first time, and you're like, holy crap, your finger goes up to my elbow. Like that's, and as soon as that finger goes to the elbow, I know what you're thinking.
Whew, yeah.
Yes.
I was like, wow, that was
big. He does poop big.
That was quite the route. Oh yeah. I didn't know that.
He's an anomaly. There's very few that get to that size. We don't breed for that. We don't breed for such a big dog because majority of giant dogs, right? Do you think they're just not functional?
I was just going to ask you that. The functionality of that particular dog at that size, is it comparable to one that's quote unquote normal size for a Corso?
So Zero, like I said, he's an anomaly. Zero is functionally sound. He is structurally sound. He's a silverback gorilla he's a legend. He is a legend in our eyes, and anybody that meets him, it feels the same way. They look at him like, oh my gosh, I will never forget this dog, right?
Yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of big dogs that we've met that are like, their hips are bad, their elbows are bad. Zero's not. That's a testament to a good breeder, right?
So he's not, definitely not Yao Ming.
No, he's a little bit more. He's like
Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq.
He's like
Shaq.
He never broke down. Yeah,
no, never broke down. Always dominant. Gives himself nicknames every now and then. So.
All right. So, when did you first get introduced to the breed? When did you first hear about it? Because we talked about this off air in the late 70s, early 80s. They were damn near extinct.
Yeah. So obviously, like a lot of breeds, right? Over in Europe, the World War II kind of wiped out a lot of things, and the Corso was very close to being wiped out because obviously, if you're fighting a war, you're not really concerned with breeding dogs, right? And it's just not a priority. But they were resurrected, right? There was a group of people. There's a doctor. His name's Paulo Brebner, and he was one of them. He actually has a book. He has a few books out, but on maintaining the original Corso. And a lot of people will give it different names, but right now a kind of a hot term is called a rustic, like a more rustic Corso. Rustic being more like the olden times, and that's not just in look, but in more so in health and attitude. A rustic temperament is a dog that's confident and is not going to take any shit from anything, whether it's human or animal, right?
Okay.
And so when they were bringing this breed back to life, and they actually brought them over here in the late 80s, these were dogs that most people could not handle. They were a lot of dog. I mean, they were dogs that you weren't walking into their kennel and just being like, "Hey, buddy, let's go." And no, it was you had to get to know these dogs. They had to trust you, and you had to trust them. It was a lot of dog.
Okay.
And any old school breeder that got into them back there in the late 80s will tell you, like, those original dogs were very hard to handle. They were not dogs that were you couldn't breed those and then just start selling puppies.
Okay.
You really had to get to know what you were breeding and what you were putting out there.
And do you know where they came? Did they land in New York? Did they land in Boston? Did they land in Chicago? Was it California?
So
where did the first breeders start?
So the Satilli family, they were from New York. They live in New York. I'm not sure where they actually set their kennel up. I know, like, now Mike Satilli Jr. lives in Florida.
It was Bedford-Stuyvesant is probably where it was, or Bensonhurst, I should say.
Up on the east side, somewhere there. But once they brought them over, there was other people that were Mastiff enthusiasts that got to see the Corso for the first time. One of the coolest guys that got into the Corsos way back then, his name was Ed Hodis. And Ed Hodis was a really cool guy because he was one of the guys that was big into boxing and then got big into MMA and was like, but before it became popular. And he was.
This is in the 80s?
Yeah, this was back in the 80s.
So it was Tough Man. It wasn't MMA, was it?
Whatever you want to call it. It was a mixture of boxing, Muay Thai. Like,
okay.
He was doing jiu-jitsu, before it became popular, and he got into Corsos before they became popular. And people can you can YouTube Ed Hodis, and he still has YouTube videos, old school stuff of like part of the original Corsos that came over
from Italy.
Yeah, from Italy. But these were dogs that were real dogs. I mean, this was like, you put that dog in your backyard, there's nothing getting in there. I mean, you're going to have to shoot that dog several times to get it up to stop. It's just, they were a lot.
Okay.
Right? And that's what turned my wife on first to see when she first got into Corsos, because she got into it roughly about 21 years ago.
Okay.
And she's seen the gambit, right? She's seen the gambit of like the well-bred, the true Corso, and then now in a lot of ways you see these, like, their name is a Corso, but they're not a Corso.
Example, what am I looking at when I'm not looking at a Corso?
Small, like thin-boned, right? No density, no substance, no presence, right? No confidence.
Huh? You sound like my Yorkies.
Yeah, just it doesn't give you that awe factor.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Are you the only Corso breeder in Utah?
In our opinion, and this probably people, and this will probably irritate people, but I can tell you how many fucks I give about that.
I love that response personally.
So we're the only breeder in the state of Utah that health tests, that has the experience, that actually puts out quality, right? And we truly care about it, because we turn more people down than we do, like, just take people's money, right? We're not like, oh, sure, you want to write us a check? Sure, take a puppy. No. How many messages we get a day, social media or email or text message or whatever, people, I'll pay you this. I don't care. I'm not selling you a puppy because you don't fit the fit the mold here. Look, he's going to eat you like when you get older. He's not gonna,
or if you got somebody that shows up here with jean shorts and a FUBU shirt or an old throwback, right?
Well, it depends what FUBU shirt though. Like if it's an original FUBU shirt, then I know he's got some street cred. So it's like
the one from Walmart that is selling now. You're not selling that guy, right?
No, we're not. We're not.
What makes your dogs worth the price? Can we talk about price?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. What makes your dogs worth the price? Because I think what do you charge? You said you're gonna charge me like $200 for a dog, right?
Yeah.
No.
I'm out of here. I'm taking 7.
So we're actually. It's funny because we are, in my opinion, the most reputable breeder in the state of Utah. We charge $3,200 for our companion puppies, and I say companion. What that means is basically they just do not have breeding rights.
You're taking the balls.
Well, no, we don't take the balls for a while. We'll get into that. Well, as to when we recommend neutering and spaying and all that. But we charge $3,200, which is actually kind of mid-range for a lot of other reputable breeders. And it's funny, even backyard breeders will charge you that much, but give you nothing.
Okay, so let's talk about reputable breeders. So you're saying that's mid-range. So there's a reputable breeder, somebody you would say that does a decent job that charges less. And there's somebody that does a decent job that charges more.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Why does this person charge less? What would be going on there?
One lives in California.
So
the other one in New Mexico.
Yeah, regions play. There's actually there's like one good decent breeder in Mexico. He breeds pretty decent dogs, but it does regionally. It plays a role on where you live. Okay. You'll see. Yeah. But like we have other breeders that we associate with that have mentored my wife when she first got into the breed. And still to this day that they'll charge anywhere from like $3,500 to $4,000 depending on what kind of litter they have.
Okay.
And then there's a variance in breeding rights, right? If you do sell to another breeder or you sell to someone that wants to get started, breeding rights cost more. And they cost more because it's a responsibility you're taking on. It's not just willy-nilly. We don't free willy-nilly it because most people nowadays don't want to do the work. Right, they just want to get the benefit. Right, they just want to get. Oh, you can sell this dog for this much. I'll make this much money. No, you understand
that's big in the like the Labradoodle, Golden Doodle world right now. Yeah. Everybody's breeding some kind of a doodle. Yeah, and they're charging a lot of money for them. And what's the background on that doodle?
That's right.
Chase, excuse me. He drinks White Claw, so I hate that he gated down for us a little bit.
I did. Listen,
he could use any other dog.
We did reference a doodle when we're talking about Corsos.
We
but that's
did.
Okay.
Well, we do have 45% of our audience is
doodle-ish.
Doodle-ish. Okay. Yeah. So I have to relate somehow.
So when you talk about breeding rights, that's saying I got my dog from Utah Corso, and this is the lineage. He's connected to Zero, and
is that what you're talking about? Our actual kennel name is Olympian Cane Corso. You can check out our website, www.olympiancanecorso.com. But yes, so when it talks about reputable, it's more than just lines. Because if you go on KSL right now and you were to look, right, everyone's like, I've championed bloodlines. What does that mean? It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing, right? What it means is that you have a show dog. You know how easy it is to go get go to some like regional show and get your dog championed in an AKC show. It's not hard, right? Okay. Especially when only like 2 or 3 dogs show up. Okay.
Okay.
So don't be swayed by someone writing champion lines. But what I mean by reputable is they're health testing their breeding stock, meaning they're making sure to the best of their ability that what they're producing is going to be the healthiest representation of that breed.
Okay.
Most people don't put in the time nor the money to do that because it's expensive. It's expensive to do it, and it's continuous.
What does it entail?
So you're testing hips, you're testing elbows.
How do you test hips? Is this a vet doing this, or you can? Okay.
So you're going to the vet, and you're going to a vet that's knowledgeable about the breed, because you can take a Corso into some like Jack in the Box vet, which most of them are nowadays.
Not ours.
No, yours is good.
No, we had a vet on here. He's awesome.
Yeah,
and that's if you can find
Dr. Mike, Dr. Mike Lemon.
Finding a good vet is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah,
because if they're logical and actually know what they're talking about, they're fantastic. Never get rid of them.
Yeah, take your doodle-ish dogs over to the other ones.
Yeah, the Jack in the Box kind of places.
Yeah,
but no, they test them. You want to get someone knowledgeable so that when they're testing the hips, they know what to look for. They at elbows, same thing. Eyes, heart. We're DNA testing dogs now. This is a fairly recent thing where they have the ability now to give you to the best of their ability, right? kind of a precursor if your dogs are genetically predisposed to get a disease or an ailment or something.
Yeah, right.
It's remarkable. It's actually it's a pretty much a game changer when it comes to breeding.
They can't do that for hips. They can do that for like cancer, or they can do that for lupus or seizures or something like that, right?
Well, the seizures are interesting. That's a big thing right now in a lot of breeds, is epilepsy.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So epilepsy, you cannot predict it, right? They're doing their best right now, researching, and Corsos are one of those breeds where the Europeans, once they got wind that the U.S. pays a lot of money for cheap crap, they decided, well, I can just take like a Boxer or a Doberman and mix it with a Corso and use that. Mm-hmm. Well, you're taking breeds that already had an established problem with epilepsy, and you're putting it into a breed that was healthy, and didn't have it. Well, that's a problem when it comes over to the United States, and you've got idiots that go out and breed whatever, and it causes a problem. So now you have a select few of breeders that are doing their due diligence when it comes to epilepsy and narrowing it down to make sure that they're not putting A with B to create C, which would be an epileptic dog, right? So that's what reputable breeding is, right? You're doing your research. You're doing everything you possibly can to produce better each time.
Right. Let me ask you this, and this goes to this question. How do you initially get started? So you say you guys started 21 years ago?
Yeah, so my wife started, she didn't start breeding 21 years ago. She got her first Corso.
She owned it.
She owned it, yeah.
And, all right, and so she loved to breed so much, she said, I want to watch them fuck. I want to get more. Right? That's what she said.
No,
she
not
told
exactly.
Him,
no, it wasn't.
She told him, you're going to want to watch these.
You're going to want to watch this dog.
And he's like, yep, let's do this. I see career path.
Yeah. He fucks like an Italian.
Yeah.
He's
They're very smooth, very smooth.
So how do you initially start the breeding process? So, okay, so she got her first one 21 years ago. 10 years later, she started breeding?
Roughly.
Okay.
Roughly. So what started her, what kind of inspired her was that her first Corso, Cerberus. He was...
God, you guys got badass names.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for it. My wife comes up with really cool names.
Listen,
Okay.
Scooby's a pretty
I'm just
cool
kind of
name.
the guy. My actual title is just poop. I just scoop poop. Really, that's what it is.
And shut up, right?
Yeah, I just walk around and scoop poop. But so Cerberus was actually a genetic nightmare. He was very unhealthy.
Where was he from?
So he was from one of what you would call a person that calls himself a breeder here in Utah. I won't even name drop his name.
No, don't.
You know,
we don't want you to do that.
Yeah. No reading. He's a turd anyway. Okay. So,
but it was a hard lesson.
Oh, hard. And my wife always coins the phrase, knowledge is expensive. Mm-hmm. Right. And I've stuck to that. Like there's no truer statement than that when it comes to breeding. He was a genetic nightmare. He was blind by very early on in his life. He had hip dysplasia very early on in his life. And that's not what you want, right?
No.
My wife gets the dog of her dreams, and then it's
Greg Oden.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Just injured all the time, right? Super dog, though. One of the most confident dogs I've ever been around.
So he wanted to do his job. He just couldn't.
Yeah. He could. My wife is an amazing trainer. She taught him to fetch a ball. He's blind. How do you teach a blind dog to fetch a ball? Only my wife. We'll drop her business in a little bit, but, yeah, just amazing, right? Just a really cool, taught him tricks. I mean, opening refrigerators, and he even did bite work, and he's blind and he has hip dysplasia, but he lived to be 10 years old, which was remarkable for a dog that,
fucked up,
messed up, right? Yeah. But that inspired her. And then when she got a replacement puppy for that dog, she was a health nightmare. So you see the pattern, right?
Yes. So she went to a different breeder.
No, the same breeder. Because here's a kind of a standard thing, right? We guarantee our puppies. We guarantee them.
You do this Utah Corso,
Olympian Cane Corso.
Olympic.
Yeah. We guarantee our puppies. When we sell a puppy, we guarantee it. It has a 2-year health guarantee. And the reason we do 2 years is because if a dog has nothing showing before 2 years, then they don't have anything.
How many have you taken back?
Oh, it's very, 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 very rare. As far as for a health reason, can't even think.
Period. How many have you taken back within that 2 years?
We've taken, from the start, like from the beginning of breeding, we've got mostly, if we get a dog back, it's mostly because the owner cannot keep them anymore. And we've only had like maybe a handful, I think like 3 or 4, that we've had to place in other homes.
Okay.
But not for health reasons, not for any. It's normally because they get a divorce, or they have to move, or they lose a job, or or they bit off more than they can chew, and they just say, I can't give the dog the time that it needs or whatnot. And we have, and our puppies don't just leave with nothing. They're contractually obligated to, if they can't keep the dog, it comes back to us.
Okay.
But this breeder actually did guarantee that puppy, which is ironic, because if you're not doing the health testing to ensure it, why would you guarantee it? It seems like a kind of a contradiction, right?
Yeah.
But she got a replacement, and that dog was not as bad, but didn't live as long. And her health ailment, she had a very rare cancer that she developed very early on.
Okay.
So it inspired my wife to say, I don't want people to feel like I feel, where you fall in love with this animal and they're amazing, and then your heart gets ripped out because they're gone too fast, or you can't do what you wanted to do, right? You couldn't take Cerberus on a 20-mile hike up the mountains because he's got hip dysplasia now, right?
You can't take me on a 20-mile hike because I'm not going on a 20-mile hike. But I get what you're saying. So your wife basically said, "Fuck this shit. I want to build a better breed."
Correct. So she did it the right way. She found a reputable breeder. That would be Castle Guard, Conde Corso. They're in Colorado.
Okay. Nice name drop. They must be really good for you to do that.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She's Shauna DeMoss and Merle DeMoss. They own the kennel. Shauna and my wife have been friends since she got those bad Corsos, and we do quite a lot of work with them.
Okay.
But getting a mentor that knows the breed, and it's in anything, right? You don't just one day decide you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to be a professional shooter. I'm just going to go buy a gun, and I'm going to be good at it. Right? I mean, the sad part is we're all thinking now, we're all like, there are people that will do that. Right?
There's plenty of people out there in anything. It doesn't even have to be shooting.
We had a gun expert on that said that. He said, get training. Don't just buy a gun, you morons. I think that was close to his exact quote.
Plenty of people. I see them driving cars all day, every day.
Yeah.
Because they got that little sticker on the back.
Yeah.
Glock or a SIG or whatever.
Oh, no. No, I was talking about the ones that have the blue thing hanging in the rearview mirrors. And all the plates.
Okay. Yeah, that's scary.
We just let anybody drive.
Anybody, I guess. I'm just handing them out. But yeah, that's it. Like you need to be mentored. You need to go get and do your research on your mentor, right? So just because somebody's breeding doesn't make them good at it.
Do your research on your
mentor. Do your research. Go meet them. Go basically you have to become obsessed with it.
Did she get both her puppies from the place in Colorado, or did she get one from Colorado and one from Indiana?
No, so those original two puppies came from a breeder here in Utah.
Okay.
And never again. Right, obviously those were crap. So
okay, I was just gonna say, because you said, as far as you know, you're the only breeder in Utah.
Well,
but experience. What did you say?
Reputable.
Yes,
reputable.
Okay, all right.
And there's other people, right? There's people who probably listen to this and be like, "What? I breed?" And like, like here's the thing: like if you own a dog, right, and you put another dog with that dog, and they have sex and they produce some puppies. You're not you're not a breeder, right? It's just like if
that's the act of
if
breeding.
I'm a teenager and I hook up with someone, it doesn't make me a porn star, right? No. I'm like, well, maybe in your mind, but like you have to
some things.
You've got to have more experience, right? But as a breeder, there's so much more into it than just putting dogs together, right? The amount. I mean, you guys saw, like, we have like our, I don't want to call it a facility, but where we keep some of our dogs is like,
it's a facility.
I mean, we've epoxy, like you've got so much that goes into it, and our dogs didn't eat you when they came in.
They didn't.
No, they did not. Yeah, I was terrified, but they left me alone.
Yeah, I mean, there's some puddle stains on the pants, but I get that. That happens. But
definitely afraid of big dogs. That's why I have little ones.
Are you really?
I wouldn't say I'm afraid of them. I'm leary around them.
Really?
Just because I don't have much experience around them. So
I didn't know
I'm
that.
Like,
so you're growing up. You were always around small dogs growing up?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Always the little ones.
Is this the same around large men?
Yes, absolutely. I always cower.
Okay.
And I'm like, if you need a stall that I need to be handled, it's fine.
That's fine.
That's why when Diego's in the woodshed, you bite your nails.
It is true.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true.
Happens.
So, but and I'm looking at your place out here with the little puppies and everything.
Sure.
And the dogs are very. They're big, but they didn't bother us. We walked through, even looked at the puppies, and
they didn't even jump.
No, No, none of them. And it was awesome. So it's a different experience. But then you have like these kennels where they like these breeding kennels. What the hell are they called? Where they just like pump out puppy after puppy.
Puppy mills.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is totally different experience. Not even that.
Yeah. No, not even close. No, which is funny. We actually have had people come and like see our dog, because we always invite, when people are interested, we invite you to come meet our dog.
I love that.
Get to know. You might not like it, right? It might be like too much. It might be, I don't like slobber. I don't like this. Come meet him. Find out.
So when you sell a puppy, or you send a puppy to a new home, have you met those people that take that puppy a number of times, or is there a time that it's like one and done, or?
We do, for the most part, we get to know them as best we can. We've kind of loosened up our requirements a little bit. We don't like do a home visit, or like, we're not like coming here.
Do you have a fire extinguisher?
Can I see your retirement plan? So how much do you make before taxes? Like, I want to know.
Yeah.
No,
will the check clear? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, well, that's funny when the check clear now. Thanks, to Venmo and
yeah, it's true.
And cash is always good too. Mm-hmm. Cash always seems to clear. But no, we get to meet them. We speak with them. We give them all the information. We go through a ton of stuff. Like, as a kennel, we offer way more than probably most kennels do, especially in here in Utah. There's no one that even comes close or compares. But we get to know them. They ask, like, they'll say, is it good with kids, right? And I'll be like, sure, we have our kids with it, and they're exposed to a lot. Our puppies are exposed to a lot of things. I mean, you've seen, it's kind of like a mini farm, so there's really not much they can't be exposed to.
How old are your kids?
So my kids are 4, and one's going to be 3 soon.
Okay, so they're out there. I mean, they're at that pull and poking age. No problem. Yeah. No problem with these dogs.
No.
Okay. And is that something you bred into them?
Yeah, and it's one thing we don't tolerate. Our dogs, like, they learn very quickly, right? Spatial awareness. Big dog, right? Kind of like a big person. When you said, like, Keith's hands hitting, like, everything because he's so big.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's kind of like a dog, right? They've got to understand how big they are and know it. So don't run into me. Don't knock the kid over. Don't pretend like we're there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we established that right off the bat with our pups, especially the ones we keep back or stay here for an extended period of time. They know you don't go bite the kids. You don't go, bump the kids. You don't doing that. And there's always that battle between nature versus nurture, right?
Yes.
So nature is going to give you the goods. It's what you do with those goods if you're going to get what it's intended to be, right? So a lot of people forget that nurture part and tend to just ruin even a good thing.
Yeah.
And so we established pretty early on with our puppies, like, Tanya's constantly, she's giving the puppies, the little, puppies are only 5 weeks old. She's treating them. And you think, treating a puppy, why is that intricate, and why is that something you should be doing? Because they have to learn to take the treat. You've probably given a dog a treat that doesn't know how to do it, and he bites your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that.
Nips your fingers or whatever.
You start early. No. Take it softly, right? So you start engaging these animals early on. They're the greatest thing in the world. But if you don't, then you're going to get some 140-pound banshee running around your house and not be able to control it.
It's going to be a 140-pound Dalmatian. I did notice I got alpha rolled by pretty much every dog out there. It just hip checked me as I walked through. Yeah, I know where I stand with these things.
Are all of those puppies spoken for out there?
Yes, I believe they're all spoken for.
And you have 10 of them?
Yeah.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah.
Shit, drinks on you. How do you like, are the males more, the females more?
No. So
they're all equal price.
All equal. We don't do like, I call it kind of like the gangster pay scale, where they're like, yo, first pick's like $10,000, and you're like, what? Why?
Right.
Because my first pick and your first pick are going to be different, right?
Different.
Hence why you picked her as your wife, and I picked Tanya as my wife, right? Because we like different things, or we like this or that or whatever. It's like when you see a puppy, it's the same thing. You could we look at puppies and go, that's the one.
Right.
That's the one we're keeping back. That's the one showing what we want. Hopefully it continues to grow that way. Whereas someone else could come in here and be like, oh, that one.
Yeah.
And we're like,
you're like, that one.
Yeah. But so we don't do the first pick, last pick. All what we do is people select their puppies based on the deposits we receive. So if you give the deposit first,
which is
$300.
Okay. That's not much.
No. You give the deposit first, you get to pick first, right? But you're picking first, obviously, after we have picked what we want. And then also, you're picking based a lot on our suggestions for you. And I say that as if you are, we've had families show up that are, how do I put this in a good way? Quite rotund, right?
Yeah. Not much exercise happening for this dog is what you're saying?
Yeah, just, they were, but they were happy people, and they were moving out, and they were doing, they're doing their thing out in the country now, and they wanted a dog to, guard their property and their kids and all that. And they're like, we're really active. And I'm like,
that's not what your jorts say.
No,
your jorts don't say that.
No. And that's the thing. And so like,
we have 100-ounce Diet Coke.
We were like, hey, you want this guy right here? This puppy is showing he's even keeled, not showing crazy drive right now. That's a good pup for you. And normally the people they take our advice in a lot of ways.
How early can you tell a puppy's disposition?
Well, it's kind of an educated guess, right? Because that nature and nurture kind of go hand in hand as they're growing up. But at about 6 weeks, they're showing their little personalities. They're showing tendencies to do things more than another puppy. One puppy might be super food motivated, and any type of food, he is like all about it. Mm-hmm. All puppies are food motivated, but there might be one that's a little bit like more Eeyore. And he's just like, I'm chill. I'm going to walk to my food. I'm going to eat my food slow.
I'll get there when I get there.
Exactly. So you kind of see those little, peckadoodles that the dogs are doing for a little puppy. Now, it can change.
Okay.
It can change a lot depending on how you raise that dog. If you continue to raise that dog the correct way, you're going to get an awesome dog. But if you don't,
So I have two questions. And first, do you ever lose a puppy? Have you guys lost any puppies? Like when you hear that from time to time, like, oh, we had 10, but one died. So
so it happens. It does happen sometimes. It happens more often in your larger litters.
10's pretty large, right?
It's good size. It's a good size litter. We've had our biggest litter has been 17 puppies.
Wow.
It's not something you want. Like 17, that's a lot.
A dog doesn't have 17 titties though. So how do they rotate out the eating?
Yeah. That's the problem. You're bottle feeding puppies.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I can imagine.
You're bottle feeding. And when I say we're bottle feeding, my wife she's pulling those long hours in there, bottle feeding, helping. I mean, you have to, because the mom just can't keep up. She can't keep up with all that. But you'll get, so when you had 17 puppies, we had 2 that were born stillborn.
Okay.
And that happens because you got to think, right? It's a conveyor belt.
Yeah.
And if they're in there too long, sometimes it just doesn't work out. And that's nature, right? Nature.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Has its ways, and there's its reasons why they didn't make it.
So, and then my follow up to that is how many litters do you do for a dog?
So we're a lot different than a lot of other breeders where you'll see them breed a female basically till her cervix falls out.
That's not good.
No, it's terrible.
Like
I say that tongue in cheek.
I know. Imagine a human being with their cervix. It's my cervix. Let's keep going. Yeah,
imagine the Duggar's mom, right? Like, it's just like
that's a clown.
They're
car.
just walking out now. Yeah. There's no elasticity in that. That's just they're just walking out. Mm-hmm. But we have kind of a pretty strict policy. We don't breed more than three litters on a female.
So, period. So you have a female, 3 litters. What do you do with her after that?
So we space it out, right? We don't breed back to back to back. You'll see a lot of guys in and I quote kennels that will show up puppies and those are awesome. As soon as their next heat cycle, they breed her again, which is not the best thing. Mm-hmm. But we spread them out. More for our sanity too. Just having litters after litter after litter is just gonna takes its toll. But yeah, about 3 will do it, and because it's healthier. Being pregnant for a female. I mean, even whatever breed you are, species you are, it takes a lot, right? It takes a lot out of you.
Are you listening, Wood? Are you listening?
Yeah, but so far I haven't had any complaints.
Okay, all right,
so I just keep breeding.
Well, sure. None of our studs ever complain. They want to keep breeding until their thing falls off.
Back to your pricing real quick. So, like the husky eyes, the heterochromia, the David Bowie eyes. Mm-hmm. Does that happen in this breed? Because I noticed dogs with a gray eye and a blue eye, or a brown eye, and it doesn't happen in this breed. You've never had that?
No. So we get this all the time where people will ask. They'll be like, I want a Corso with blue eyes, and I want a blue dog with blue eyes. Like, that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
No.
All right. And we talked earlier about the white dogs. That doesn't happen. You don't have albino Corsos. You've never seen that.
No,
I'm sure it could happen, but you've never seen it.
That is not a color in the Corso.
It's not.
You'll see now. It's a lot of.
So that would be a mutt then. If you had one like that, that's kind of a
what
mutt
you're creating is a genetic nightmare, right? So
sure,
those
bad and son probably deaf, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're getting things that you're not going to be wanting to press on with other dogs, right? So when you'll see a lot of designer people right now, especially in California, will put Merle dogs into a Corso, and they'll produce a Merle Corso because people. I'm like you saw
Merle. It's a color.
You saw our little French bulldog, right?
Yeah.
Our little French bulldog. She's what you'd consider Merle.
They used to call that brindle, but now it's a little more busy, right?
Well, brindling. So brindling is like that puppy you saw, that little puppy, that 3-month-old pup. That's what we call a dark brindle, black brindle, because the predominant color on the bottom, as you can see, is black, and then you've got the browns and golds, kind of like those tiger stripes, filling everything else in. Right, and then you'll see our dogs look a little lighter, right? And we have one there's a blue brindle, so you'll see that brindling. And I'd say tiger stripes. That's probably the easiest thing to picture in your head.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Those are standard colors. You'll see those quite often, right? But what you won't see a lot is solids. So solid black, pretty rare nowadays. But a lot of people want it. Right? They always want something that's not around a lot, right? Blue used to be the big color. I want a blue puppy.
I still
Pit
love
bulls too.
Still love that blue color.
And people love it, but it's a dilute color. So people will put blue to blue, right? And nothing will happen with the puppies. They'll get this great litter. They'll think, oh, it's so great. And they'll continue to do it. And you'll create problems, skin problems, other health problems, cancers, all sorts of things, blindness. Like, you need to do your genetic homework before you start just throwing things together just because people are like, oh, I'll buy that, so I'm going to sell it, right? Yes, we are selling puppies, right? We do sell our puppies, but they're not a commodity. It's not a T-shirt. It's an actual living, breathing thing. So
this is back to the doodle-ish thing.
Yeah. You ever think about like some of the things your dogs are gonna see, your puppies? Like, you understand? Like, dogs see a lot of shit. You know what I mean? And they can't even talk about it. So I'm sure people come over here to visit your facility, and you're just like, dude, my dog is not gonna watch you fuck chickens on a Wednesday every day.
Really,
every fucking Wednesday. My dog's not gonna watch what you do with Frankfurters for fun, you and your buddies. You know what I mean? So why don't you leave? You and your jorts. If you got somebody with jorts, you got somebody with suspenders and a belt. You got somebody with sandals and socks. Send those people away. I'm telling you this from experience.
We don't really deal with people. Right. The sandal and sock thing. That unless they're older, I appreciate that when they're older.
Well, they're not going to
more established. Yeah.
I got one more question about breeding. How far away? Because I remember growing up, people would be like, "Oh, don't buy that dog because it's a mother and a son." You know what I mean? And which makes sense to me. That's nasty.
You're talking about putting them together, so like inbreeding or line breeding.
Yes.
Right.
How far away are the lines? Like, when you and your wife first started this, she got one from Colorado and she got one from somewhere else and hooked it up, and those are those lines. But then those puppies can't get with mom, and the puppies can't get with each other, so you got to get a different one.
Yeah. So what you want to do is there's a term. It's kind of a hot term, right? When you're breeding and you get involved in it, and people will be like, well, "That's a line bred dog," right? A lot of people are like, well, "What is line breeding?" Right?
Yep. That's me.
Yeah. So. That you don't know what it is? Or
I don't know what it is. No.
It's got to be straight up and down. That's got to be mom and son.
No. So what it is meaning, if you're to look at a pedigree, and if you haven't seen a pedigree, right, you'll see that dog will be picture. You'll have its picture and its name right here, and then it kind of branches off like a tree, right? Kind of branches.
Okay.
And what line breeding means is there'll be similar dogs, right? The same dog will be in both sides of that breeding, right? So meaning, great grandpa might be grandpa for the sire, and great grandpa, that same dog might be the great grandpa of this female that you're putting together, right?
That's
and so
a problem, right?
No, not necessarily. So you have to be very, very intricate when you do your line breeding to make sure it's not too close. And what I mean by not too close is you're not going to go mom and dad, or mom and son.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to go dad and a daughter. Right.
So you want to keep it Utah legal and go second cousins.
Correct.
Got you.
You want to stretch out. And the reason, right, you'll find a lot of like working breeders. They'll actually do that. They'll put a a mom and a son together and not think twice about it. You can probably get away with it once, but what you're going to see is anything that's malformed in that dog genetically is going to start coming up.
That's how you get crazy.
Correct. Yeah. You're going to get cuckoo. You're gonna get some like sloths coming out of there, right?
Like knee and hip problems in that thing.
Oh, I think that would be the least of your concerns. You're gonna get probably a lot of temperamental issues. You're gonna get
Chase. My dog was standing on my chest this morning and watched me sleep.
Yeah,
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, just like we're talking. Hey, you guys, that's what's gonna be chanting out of you. It's just not something you want to do. You don't want to, and you're not like invigorating the bloodline, right? You've got to outcross. If you have a line, right, that is good and you've had solid breedings and you got good puppies, now's the time to outcross. You got to bring something else in, right? Spice up that bloodline, keep it healthy, introducing new things into it.
Find a new female and bring it in with one of the sons of whatever you've created. Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And people always will be like, "Well, I want this line." Well, if you really do your homework, right? Nothing is basically so specific that nothing else is in there, right? So if it has a kennel name on it, people will be like, well, but it has the same kennel name. Does that mean they're related? No, that should mean that breeder has done their due diligence and they've outcrossed enough to where things have come in and they can extend that line and continue those good breedings.
So you don't necessarily want the line. You want it part of the tree.
Correct.
You want it part of that family tree because it could be the great grandpa of whatever, but it's now crossed with something else.
Correct. And you'll see this. You'll see breedings that are closer in line breeding and almost in inbreeding, more so with different breeds, working breeds, because they always kind of go into the guise of I don't care what it is as long as it works, right? Well, yeah, as long as it works, I think they don't understand the deeper meaning of that. Yes, it'll continue working, but it's actually going to shut down if you continue just to line breed on and on top of another. You've got to be smart about it, right? You've got to be intelligent and know what ailments that line might have or where it's lacking, right? You don't put two dogs together just to put two dogs together. You put them together because they're going to benefit each other. This female may be lacking a little bit in bone. And when I say that, thickness in bone, we want a dense, thick bone, where this male, he's big, he's thick, he's like zero, right? Yeah. But you have to see, right? You may have a male that may not be a good stud, and what I mean by that is he looks good, he's functional, he's healthy.
He's they them,
but he might. He might be like
maybe he didn't like the fuck. I didn't know where you were going with this. Right.
Well, he could be like, who does Michael Jordan's son play? Does he play pro basketball? And is he a Hall of Famer and is he a legend?
Right.
Yeah.
No, but Del Curry is
who is an average player, and look at
his son,
Michael Thompson.
There you go.
Yeah. Got a son in MLB. Got a son in NBA.
I mean, there you go, right? Yeah. Like look at Walter Payton, right? His son
played at Miami. Got a tryout for the Bears. Yeah,
but was he as good? You know what I mean? Like, so that's how I look at a stud dog, and that's how we look at a stud dog. Is like, what are you producing, and are you producing better? Okay. Right? A lot of people get on the track of like, this dog's well known. Why is he well known? Is he well known because of what his looks or what he's producing? Right? So if you're a good reputable breeder, you want because he's producing well.
Okay. I got one more question about breeding. Now I want to get to disposition. Okay.
Well, after breeding, then I got one question in breeding.
But I have a question about breeding and I have a question about disposition. So breeding, disposition?
Yes, let's do that.
So my breeding, your breeding?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know why you have to jerk dogs off sometimes.
I think you're asking the wrong guy. No. I think if we got his wife on, she would give a different answer.
Yes. He started out cleaning up shit. I'm sure he's jerked off a dog or two. He just wanted to talk about it. We're going to expose this motherfucker. You don't go from cleaning up shit to all of a sudden, being the face of the company. All
that
right?
is true.
He cleaned up shit. He jerked off a few dogs.
Yeah.
And why sometimes you have to jerk off a dog?
So how did I put this? So sometimes dogs don't breed well. They're not good breeders. And what I mean by that is, like, you don't always have a. We'll take zero, right? Zero's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like Ron Jeremy, right? Coming up to.
I didn't look at his balls. I should have looked at his balls because you don't see a lot of dogs' balls, and I'm sure you got balls out there.
But the balls aren't the ones going in.
Right.
So let me tell you the dynamic of genitalia. So you have the testicles, right? And then you have what's known in the medical world as a penis. Zero has what's known in the medical world as just fucking huge.
Big cock.
He's massive.
Okay.
He is, and this is not an exaggeration to any stretch of the word. It is impressive. Like
he's easy to jerk off.
I'm like we can't make eye contact. I can't like, and he's my dog. Like he's my guy. But
you want to put a pair of pants on him just to walk outside, huh?
I'm just glad. Like I'm glad he's on my team.
Okay.
But so sometimes you don't want to put such a large male with a smaller female, right? Because health-wise, that's probably not the best for her when it comes to just pain in general, right? So, and then other times you have people want semen sent to them, right? They want to use your stud, but they live in another state, they live in another country, they live someplace else. So what you got to do is you got to collect.
How much do you charge for that?
Put it in a bag.
So we haven't used any of our studs. We haven't sent out any semen. But some of the people that we work with, like I mentioned, Castle Garden in Colorado, she does a lot for her because she has. It's a much larger kennel, right? Much larger kennel. We're considerably smaller in the realm of like the big breeders. We're not huge that way, but we like to keep our stuff within our small little circle, right? And so. We haven't actually sent out any. People have asked for zero stuff all the time. They're like, we want to use them. We're pretty selective on it. We just don't send it out, right? It's more, it's a higher commodity if it's harder to get, right?
I can't believe we're talking about dog cum. That's awesome.
Yeah. I can see the hesitation because somebody's got to do that.
But
I don't see a line of people out here like now. Listen, now maybe if you offered a tube of peanut butter with them, I don't know.
It could work.
We could do something here.
It could. But so I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
You couldn't jerk them off.
No, I couldn't do it.
You have pretty small hands, but
that's the thing. I was like this. It was like I grabbed a bazooka and was like, "What do I do with it?"
How much would you charge to send out zeros?
Zero's stud fee would, if we did it, it would probably upwards of like 7,000. I'd probably say.
Really?
Yeah.
How many females can they inseminate it with one pow? With one? Yeah.
Big boy. Well, one vial is what you, because you want to put
one female.
That's one female. Yeah.
Okay.
One female. But he's just not something that you just want to like let everybody have, right?
That's
it's
true.
not,
Yeah. That's hot commodity.
And yeah, we're just selective with it. We're very selective. Like Fonzie out there. Fonzie, he's bred. He came from another kennel, and we've had him now for about a year.
What state?
He came from Indiana.
Okay.
But he's bred 7 times live breeding, and he's hit every single time. But we've never collected him on our own.
He's like Denzel Washington in Training Day. Can't miss. Remember when he says that to Hoyt?
Yeah.
Can't miss.
Yeah.
Want a boy? I'll hook you up. Pow!
Yeah.
You had a breeding question.
He's all of our studs. And we have other dogs that what's called co-own. We co-own them with other people around the state.
It's a timeshare for those of you
Pretty
that
much.
are doodlers.
Pretty much. So they own them. It's their dog, and then when we give them the signal, it's time to come in and. No pun intended on the come in, but they come back and use their services and their goods and whatnot. And we actually have either male or female. We have both. We have Cohens with different people, males and females, and they come back.
Let me cut you off right quick. Hang on. Do you ever have a female that just doesn't resonate with the male?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
We're not fucking.
So Zero's mom was a badass. Her name was Medusa.
From?
Ooh, that sounds
So she actually came from a kennel. I forget what state it's in, but it's called Stonecroft.
She was here.
Yep, she's here.
Okay.
She passed away a few years ago. She was a badass. She was just like Zero, super confident, right? Did bite work, like muscular, just like a He-Man of a female.
Big
right?
bad bitch.
Oh yeah, big bad black bitch.
Big bad black bitch.
Oh yeah, like
right.
We're talking. That's why we named her Medusa. Like just like she just had that like scary kind of look to her.
Okay.
Super dog, right? Hated to be bred with other, like she looked at the male and was like, "You're not enough for me," right? So she actually, a lot of our females early on, we did surgical insemination. So they go into the vet, and the vet basically places the juice right there, right in the old honey pot, and it's a 96% chance rate, like that they're going to get pregnant. So it's a pretty high percentage that you're going to get, a pregnancy.
And she wakes up from her anesthesia. She's like, "What the fuck?
Yeah,
I got roofied. I got fucking roofied."
Yeah, it's pretty shocking.
What the fuck? Which one of you motherfuckers got me?
all of a sudden they're just like, wait, I'm pregnant? What happened? But yeah, so you do get some females, and then you get other ones like, I mean, it's not far from humans, right? You just like, some are just like, yeah, sure, why not? And then other ones are like, you ain't touching this. Like Shira out here, she's like kind of she's our oldest, head bitch. She doesn't take it, but when she's in heat, she's ready to go.
Down the fuck.
She's ready to go.
Down
she's just
the
like,
fuck.
like, here we go.
Yeah,
So
built some humans like that too.
Yeah, it varies.
Yeah,
it varies.
Oh,
Species to species.
This is wild. So you mentioned a bit ago that sometimes you breed, or sometimes they don't produce, the litter you would think they would. So like Zero, for example, do you have to breed them once then, and you're like, he didn't produce what we thought, so we're gonna pick somebody else, or what's the process? Or you're like, well, let's give it number 2. Let's see if number 2 works.
Yeah. So you kind of have to. There's always. I mean, that's how when it comes to breeding, like holding a puppy back, you see the good and what they've produced, right, and what's coming out of it, and then if let's say a litter doesn't turn out to what you thought it might be, there's a lot of factors that can go into that, right? And so sometimes you may have outcrossed a little too far. You may have brought in something that just is not compatible with what you've got. When you find that compatibility with a different like line, it's gold, right? Because you produce really cool stuff. So we've used other dogs from other kennels where it was like a perfect fit when it came to putting these dogs together, because that line and our line had the same qualities and it only enhanced them. If you go too far down the line, right, and you just kind of grab something you think, oh, well, I have none of that in my line, none of that in my dog's pedigree, even 20 dogs back, right? I'm going to put it in here. You have no idea what you're going to get.
Right.
So it's a bigger gamble.
Have you ever been duped or attempted to be duped? Like, oh no, this is the dog, and then they show you.
Yeah,
I mean, we research enough, I guess.
Yeah, we research quite a bit. We're pretty. I mean, we do our due diligence probably more so than most, and we just don't willy nilly, any dog with just because we have a dog.
Right.
You get people all the time that contact us. They're like, I want to use Zero. Why don't you just let me use him?
I got a Labrador Retriever.
Because that's a pit bull, motherfucker.
Yeah. I got a golden doodle. Yeah. Go great with him.
They just don't put in. They don't put in the time, and I think that's what separates us a lot from not just Corsos, but in any type of breeder around the state. Is for them it's money, right? For them it's money.
A lot of it is. That's what you
find. For most people.
Yeah, I would say so.
It really is. So it's rare to find somebody that cares about the integrity of the breed.
I would agree.
And what's going on with the lineage.
Absolutely, and that's the reason we have me. Just real quick, I know you have one more question going to what? Not breeding. Disposition. You guys can't see because typically we have another screen up and you can see the live commenting. There's a lot of people giving Keith a lot of shit here, but Troy Lynn does say she works in cargo. And dog semen is shipped a lot, apparently.
Oh, it is.
It is quite a thing.
What temperature do you have to keep it at?
Oh, it's like, dude, you're using the liquid nitrogen. Like you've got the whole
shit.
Like it's encased.
So do you freeze it and send it?
So there is
that'd
chilled.
Be like mouth temperature.
It's like chilled.
You don't want it at 98.7, Keith.
No,
you want it at like so. I would expect if you're keeping it that, it's got to be like, let's go right now.
Yeah.
Or then you're freezing it.
There is frozen, but if you're, for the most part, you're literally overnighting it.
I would hope.
You're overnighting it to a vet, and the vet gets it, and it's called chill. It's chilled in that container, that shipping container, and then they warm it up, right?
Chris.
They get it ready.
Okay.
Right? They get that nice room temperature.
Pull out the turkey baster.
Right there, and just drop it in.
The name.
Good
That's
to go.
The sounds of it.
Good to go.
What is the disposition of a perfect Corso?
Perfect Corso.
Disposition.
The perfect temperament disposition for a Corso. Confident, right? Confident. And when I say confident, what I mean by that is they're able to do anything. I can take them anywhere. Corsos have a thing in the breed, a well-bred dog, where at one point in their youth, when I mean from like puppyhood to like about a year and a half, they go through this fear stage, right? And it's not a fear stage where they're just like running around hiding under the bed, meaning you're going on your walk that you've gone on every day for the last 6 months, and you've walked past this fire hydrant, right? And all of a sudden, that fire hydrant just became the scariest fucking thing that they've ever seen. And they're just like, what is that thing? Confidence will push them over that, right? Confidence will be like, well, it's kind of weird, but I'm going to walk and I'm going to stare at you. I'm going to look at you. And then after a while, they get used to it and they forget that they're scared of it and it goes away. That's what I want. I want the ability for that dog to naturally overcome things, right? Other thing is to be confident in themselves, right? So Zero can walk out and he's like a silverback gorilla. And when you're wielding what he's wielding, like you pretty much, you constantly mark the dirt, but that he doesn't phase him. It doesn't phase him. So that's what we want. And that's what, and like when our dogs come out, a dog that comes out and barks at you, right? Because they don't know you, right? They bark at you and then they're able to stop barking at you and just be cool with you because you're cool and their owner's cool with you. Mm-hmm. That's what I want. That's a dog that has confidence, right? All the other intangibles, well, if you were to read a description of a Corso, right, it's going to say aloof. People have misconstrued what aloof means. Aloof is like you and I. Someone knocks on our door at 9:00 at night. We're like, "What the fuck? Who is that?" Yeah. I'm grabbing the gun. Babe, get the shotgun. Yeah. I'm gonna stand at the door.
Stand over here, right?
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm high. You're low. Okay. Just so we know right off the bat. Okay. Aloof is right. I don't know you. So I'm not going to feel completely comfortable with you until I get to know you. It's not fear, right? So a lot of people think like a fear-based dog, well, they're just aloof. No. Fear is not in that. Look at that dog. That dog should have no fear.
Well, when I walk back there, every one of those dogs strike me as a confident dog.
Yeah.
All of them that approached me, well, they did alpha roll me, so that's totally different. Yeah. But they all seem to carry that confidence as they walk around that yard. None of them are fighting with the other or anything. They just are confident in their surroundings.
Yeah.
And Zero comes out and he's like, I'm King Dick around here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stomp around, smell you, let you pet me because you're going to need to pet me.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do my thing.
Did he tell you where?
He did. He looked me right in the eye. I got afraid. And Troy Lynn, there's a shipment coming.
It may have some pantlet on it, but it's still good.
So confident. Are they easy to train?
Very. One of the easiest. So when we sell a puppy, we send them home with a basically like how to raise a Corso novel.
You give them a booklet.
My wife has done so much research. So her experience level is through the roof. There's nobody more experienced in the state of Utah than her when it comes to Corsos.
Glad we're talking to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but your fee was only so you can pay so much. You get the second hand, the poop scooper, But she and I through osmosis have learned at least 4% of what she knows.
Sure.
So
wow,
that's all right.
Wow.
Roughly, I think 3.8. I probably extended it.
For yet. Showing off a little bit for the fans,
well,
right?
Yeah. But the way you raise them plays such a big role, right? And it's no different than any other breed in the sense that if you establish boundaries, you start establishing some sort of training. I'm not talking about getting them, advanced obedience trained right off the bat, but, not letting them jump on you, not letting them pull when they walk, just establishing things to let them know you're in charge and they're not. Right. That is a world of difference where we get some people that come back and they're just like, they're crazy. Like they're so good when we're in the house and they're just like lie down. But then when someone comes to the door, they want to eat them. Well, have you told them that that's not okay? Like at a certain point, have you established, can I talk to your children for a second? Right. And then I talk to their kid and their kid slaps me. I'm like, okay, I see your problem.
Yeah. Isn't also exposure to different things? Like
correct.
We talked about the fire hydrant. Take them out.
Yeah. Take them out.
Get them exposed to different things. Take them upstairs. Take them to the mountains. Take them downtown. Take them to fucking, what is that thing the hippies go to?
A drum
farmer's
circle.
market.
Oh, yeah.
Drum circle too.
Yeah. And you want to socialize. And we recommend socialization, but to a point. Right? This isn't a lab, right? This isn't a boxer that's jumping around, wants to meet everybody, and like you socialize them, but it's more desensitizing than it is socializing.
That's better, right? Yeah, absolutely, that's better. So have them around different things, different noises, different smells and sounds and stuff. I like that.
And we start that early.
Would you call it desensitizing?
Desensitizing.
Not socializing, desensitizing.
Yeah.
Because you still want a dog that's going to work for you.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we started early. We play sounds, crazy sounds for the puppies when when their ears started opening about 2.5 weeks. everything from trains, gunshots, kids crying,
Right.
screaming, yelling, door slamming, all this stuff. You play it for them so they're hearing these things. And I don't know 100%, but subconsciously they're understanding that sound. And so when they hear that real sound in real life in real time, it's not shocking, right? And they're not freaking out. All those people that are like, oh, my dog's afraid of fireworks. There wouldn't be a dog on our property that if they were afraid of fireworks that we'd keep. There's no way.
Okay.
And when I say keep, I wouldn't keep you if you didn't like overcome this. Like I would make you stand out there and listen to those things before you realize, look, nothing's happening to you, right?
It's strange to me that dogs are afraid of fireworks because it happens so regularly. So I don't understand how that happens. I even my tiny little not men dog Yorkies aren't afraid of the fireworks. I don't understand.
I mean, it varies from dog to dog, but it's just exposure, right? Exposure and that being desensitized to just noise, period, right? And that's okay. And I'm okay.
So do you have like a speaker out in the kennel and you just like playing it out
There
there?
was
How
music.
do you?
Yeah. So we have music. We have people talking in there. We'll have set up the computer next to the puppies and have them listening to random things while they're sleeping, while they're eating. Turn the like vacuum on while they're eating. Drop things while they're eating. Shake things
On a
while
regular
they're
basis, you do this. Every breed.
And since you're talking about eating, this thought
Litter, I
came to
should
me
say.
before. Yeah. So when a dog's eating, like disturb it. Do you, your recommendation, your thoughts on it rather? So you give me, or I purchase a puppy from you. Do I bother it while it's eating, or let it eat, let it do its thing because that's like sacred to it?
There's a difference between bothering it versus you're teaching it that you can take that food back at any time.
Okay,
Right?
so like so I got kids, right? I got little ones, and sometimes I'm doing my thing, feed a dog, and then that little kid goes over there and starts
Eating the dog food.
Yes,
Yeah.
mostly child, but they pull the dog food away, or they start petting the dog while it's eating. Like,
yeah. So
what do you say?
There's two parts to this, right? So the first part would be one, don't let your kid do that. Okay.
Okay.
Because it is a dog and it has its own mind, and even a well-trained dog can have a bad day.
Mind.
Right?
Yeah, right.
You said have a bad night.
Have a bad day. Have a bad night. They can,
Okay.
whatever. But they
Either
can,
way.
right? Just you think about it. You think about people, right? You have even the most well-trained, like squared away person. You're like, whoa, that was weird. They never do that.
Will Smith.
They had
You just brought up a Will Smith reference that we've been
you did.
avoiding. You just did it.
I didn't think we'd go there, but
You
We're
did
trying.
we can talk about
We
it.
could put a pin in it and come back.
Yeah, we could put but just keep Zero's name out of your. But yeah, so what you're doing is like I can walk up to any dog that we own, right?
Mm-hmm.
And grab a raw bone out of their mouth, no problem, right?
Okay.
The reason is because we've established that if I come up and want something from you, you're going to let go of it. We've given you that command, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't recommend you trying, like, we don't train them with our kids. We don't say, hey, go grab that out of their mouth and we'll see if this works. No.
Be sure.
But what we're doing is we're establishing that you're going to get it back, right?
Yeah.
It's just like playing ball. So if they love that ball, right, and they just don't want to let go of it, and I teach them to let go, and then I throw it right away, they're learning that I'm the source of fun, not the ball.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm the source of your food, not the food, right? The
Yeah,
food
I
doesn't
see.
walk over to you.
Yeah.
I bring you the food.
Okay.
So we're establishing that trust. We're establishing that bond. If you have that trust, you have that bond with your dog. They're balanced. They understand that what you're doing is not trying to kill them, right? And I say trying to kill them because you've all seen dogs react to something new like they're being killed, right?
Yeah.
Or cutting their nails. They freak out. They're shaking. They want to bite you. It's like they think they're being killed, right?
Yeah.
They're not. They just haven't been exposed to it, and they haven't been desensitized to it.
Okay.
So when you say like, oh, if your kid was to go over there and touch the food, right? If you've done that work, the dog should react correctly.
Okay.
Right? And then you correct the kid. Hey,
Yeah.
don't
That's
do
true
that,
enough. Fair enough.
right?
Yeah.
That's not your food. That's his. He's eating. Leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then there's other ways that we establish with people on how to do it is you have to also let that dog know that if like they're in their crate, that's their time. That's their place.
Yeah.
You don't go in that crate.
That's their home.
That's their place. Safe. That's their safe place.
The most important things I think that I teach my dogs is stay, stop, and drop it. I teach because those things can save their lives. You know what I mean? Stay here, stop what you're doing or drop whatever you're eating. I teach my dogs those things. Why did I say that like Charles Barkley? You know how Charles Barkley says things 3 times in a row? I just did that. God damn it. He must be
childish.
drunk.
Anyway, we're going to take a quick... Hold on.
Oh, you got to urinate.
Yeah, I do. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
What type of person is this dog for? Because Gilbert Godfrey, you know who that is,
Yes,
right?
I do.
King Corso, no.
Well, he might want a cane, but do you want a Cane?
God damn it, Corso. He's going to get a Dachshund or a Collie.
Well, no, not necessarily. Because here's the thing. When people always ask me all the time, and we get messages all the time asking, is a Corso the right breed for us? And so I would tell them the Corso is a utility breed. And it might not be listed as a utility breed, but I categorize it as utility because they can do anything. We have dogs from our breedings that are doing work in a hospice, right?
Okay.
People are dying.
Wow.
Old folks are dying.
So like service dogs.
Service work. Veterans. We have several veterans, combat veterans, that use our dogs for service dogs. We've got people that have used our dog for tracking, shed hunting.
I want one of those. I want Zero to be a therapy dog and go on an airplane. You know what, assholes?
Yeah.
He's my therapy dog.
Yeah. Don't
get out
judge.
of my way.
Don't judge. Quit. And his eyes are up here. Okay. So just. But yeah, they can do anything, and so it all depends on really the amount of work you're willing to put in.
So the dog, it's not the dog itself; it's the person with the work.
Correct.
Because my thing has been like, I know dogs, not to your extent, but
Sure.
I'm pretty confident with dogs in terms of training them. But if you have somebody that's not that,
Yeah. And that's where
there's the work.
Yeah, and that's where you have to establish is, look, it's not a lab, right? It's not like this dog that's just going to love everybody. It's not. It's a dog. It is a dog that has a protective nature, and it's a working dog. Now, work, that's relative to what kind of work you're gonna put it into. So, if you're keeping the dog engaged, you're raising it correctly, you're establishing boundaries, you train the dog, right? You crate train the dog, you put discipline in the dog's life. There's a lot more freedom you will have with your dog and what you can do with it, right? Whereas opposed to if you just let it go crazy and don't do anything. Well, with any dog, that's going to be a terrible life. You're not going to be happy, and the dog's not going to be happy.
You've talked several times about crate training. Is that something that's like a den for a dog?
Oh,
Is that the wolf aspect of it, where
Yeah.
this is my home, nobody else goes in here? What's in here is what I want in here. You know, the bedding and whatever toys I take in there. That's my space. You highly recommend that.
Yeah, I mean, I recommend that for dogs, kids. Like it's pretty.
Wife.
Yeah. No, but if you think about it, everyone. So we have a thing at our house, right, for our kids. We call it quiet time, and we have our kids go into their rooms, and they can spend 2 hours or whatever, an hour or whatever, in that room, and it's their time to read books, play with their toys, do whatever. Mom and dad can work, doing their thing out here or in the backyard or what have you. The same thing with a crate, right? The dog goes in there and knows I can sleep, I can chew on a bone, I can eat my food. We feed in the crates because we want them to feel that this is theirs.
I've heard a lot of people won't feed in there because they want, this is your feeding place, that's your sleeping or personal space. Do you see a difference or preference or?
Well, there's slowed dogs and there's slowed humans. I think the slowed human would put food out randomly, and then they're the same person that would complain, well, their food gets everywhere when I feed them. We're like, well, feed them in the crate, and it'll just go in the crate.
Yeah.
You can. I mean, that is a preference, but it just establishes more of that denning instinct when you feed them in there.
Yeah.
And it's less of a chance for a younger dog to, take a crap or piss in their kennel because they don't want to piss or take a shit
where
they
the
eat.
food's at. Yeah.
So it's easy to house train and stuff like that.
Correct.
What's the lifespan of this dog?
So on average, about 10 to 12 years.
That's the shitty part about that. Why don't they live like fucking tortoises or parrots? You know what I mean?
Because then generations have to take care of them. Just live as long as me.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, when I die, you die.
That would be good. That actually that'd be good. It wouldn't be so good for breeding because I think you'd have a lot of, you wouldn't need to breed very often.
Yeah.
But 10 to 12 years. There's been some that have lived up to 15. But for a large breed dog, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
10 to 12.
10 to 12 years on average. And have you had repeat customers?
All the time.
Really?
All the time. Constantly. I would say a good majority of our puppies are sold through repeat. We've got people that have the largest amount of dogs that someone has right now currently is within their family. 4, I think 5.
That says something about this place.
Yeah. Would it be better to have more than one then? Of like the same breed?
Yeah, it all depends on like kind of your living situation.
Sure.
If you have the room or you have the ability and like I said, putting in the work. Sure.
Do they do better alone? Do they do better with a companion, or does it even matter? Really, I guess it depends on how they're brought up.
A Corso is a dog that loves you, right? They are a working breed, but they work for you. Whereas like a Malinois and a Dutch Shepherd loves the work, right? So I can hand over any working Malinois. I could probably hand him over to somebody and say, okay, here's his leash, right? Give him the command, he'll do it, right? I can hand over one of my dogs, and they're going to look at you like, I'm not going to do it.
Fuck you, asshole.
Yeah.
Where's Chase at?
Yeah. I don't care that you have candy. I'm not taking it.
Have you sold to any famous people?
Yeah. Some pretty famous people.
Not Suge Knight.
No, he tried. He showed up one day. He was wearing all red. I'm like, I like red. Do you like red? Where are you from? And he's like, what? And then he left. I was like, but a bitch, dude. You can't.
No shit.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, all right. I was eating it.
No. No. So we've
Michael Vick. You sold to Michael Vick? No. All right.
Yeah. So
DMX.
Those dogs.
Who'd you sell to?
Michael Vick, Robert Blake.
Dog was in a pool. I thought he could swim.
I think it was Clinton. No, we didn't. No, so there's actually a lot of breeders that they'll post on social media all the time, right? I sold to Bill Jones, and he plays for the Seattle Seahawks. He's the third string left tackle, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't give two shits that you sold to them, right? And the reason why is because you're playing a game, and that's all it is to me, right? You're just playing a game. That's cool. That doesn't. You're not one of those like world changers. So what we did was, we kind of like sought out to sell to veterans and combat veterans, not necessarily sell them. We give them quite a large discount, and the guys and we promote that.
Wait. We have veterans to listen to the show. What type of discount do you give?
So we offer them $500 off.
$500 off the $200 you're charging me, so you pay them $300 to get the dog. Is that what you?
Absolutely.
So we give them an initial.
He didn't even answer. He just kept talking.
Yeah. He'll be messing with my money. No, we give them, which it's a small token that we give to them, because to us they are. I want my kids to look at them as a celebrity.
Absolutely.
More so than someone that's just chucking a ball or kicking a ball or anything like that. Because I mean, I'm not taking away from them. Right? There's some amazing athletes, and there's growing up, we have these idols that are like playing sports and all that stuff.
Right.
But we definitely we promote the veteran, the combat veteran, way more. And we've had some pretty cool guys, like awesome, really like a tip of the spear type guys, come to our home and get pups from us and fall in love with the breed. And to us, that means more than some football player, baseball player, anything like that.
So why do you do this? Why do you breed dogs?
Well,
and I think you answered it earlier with the integrity of the dog.
Sure.
But I want to know next. It's like, do you have a mantra? What is the fucking word I'm looking for? A business code. God damn it! Help me. What's the word I'm looking for? The phrase.
Yeah.
He just left me standing
Slogan.
there. Not a slogan.
You're thinking like a vision statement.
Vision statement.
Kind of like thing.
Thank you, Chase. You suck, Woody.
Hey, look, some of us have to keep this other side of this thing running.
So,
what is that for you in terms of this?
So
the Olympian.
Olympian Connie Corso. So I would say the reason we do it, one, we love the breed, right? We absolutely love the breed. In our opinion, right, and everyone's biased when they have a certain breed, but it's the greatest dog that you can get. There's no more loyal breed than a Corso.
People say that about pit bulls. People say that about Airedales. People say that about chows.
That's true.
People say that about all that.
That's true. But people also say the Dallas Cowboys will win the Super Bowl soon, and they have.
That is true. They say that every year.
So I think that there's some truth to what I'm saying.
Okay.
They will defend and protect your family to the best of their ability. And I know we talked about it earlier, like there's trained and untrained, right? There's dogs that you've trained in protection work. There's ones that you haven't. But they will do everything they know how to do instinctually to protect your family. My kids and my wife if you come into my home and you weren't invited, I automatically feel sorry for you. That's my first feeling.
You pity the fool.
Pretty much, right? Pretty much, because you better hope that the gun's pulled out. Because the gun's in it, like, that's just there, right? Mm-hmm. That dog's gonna whoop you good, and it's gonna keep on going. They are so loyal. Like, my wife can't go anywhere without our dogs following her. They follow her everywhere. I have a video on our Instagram page,
which is
at Utah Connie Corso.
Okay.
And I'll give a preface real quick. We put our Instagram page as Utah Connie Corso so that it's easier for those that want a Corso to find us, right? So if you Google Corso, Utah, you'll go to our Instagram page. But our kennel name is Olympian.
Okay.
But that being said, I have a video. We have several videos on our Instagram page, but one of them is Zero following my oldest daughter around when she was 2 years old. We didn't train him to do this. We didn't say, follow or anything like that. But she's at the park and I'm just filming and she's getting further and further away. He's walking right there with her. She stops, he stops. And that right there is one of the best representations that anybody can see of what a Corso does, right? And they've all about these stories. I had that dog growing up, right? And there's always an exception to the rule. But in general, a well-bred Cane Corso is the most loyal dog you will ever own. You will never go to a different breed. You will not. If you get a well-bred Corso. And I say well-bred and I emphasize that, right? Because there's a lot of shit out there. You could click on KSL right now and there's funky looking dogs, Corso this. And well, they're not papered, but they're this, that. And I'm not a big paper guy. I'm not a big pedigree guy. It's got to be this, got to be that. But what I am is if you've put in your time and you're breeding quality dogs that represent the breed to the best that you can, then I'll respect you. But when you're just throwing out crap, no, that's not a Corso.
Okay.
That kind of looks like it, but it's not it's
not a real one.
What do you do with the puppies that don't sell?
That's funny.
Has that
really
happened?
don't sell?
You really?
So
are you backlogged?
we don't keep a waiting list. So we don't need our egos boosted by keeping a waiting list, right? A lot of people will we got a waiting list, all this like 10 miles long. I don't need that, right? We breed because what we want to produce is going to be better than the next, right? We want it to be better each and every time we breed. And we don't always know what we're going to get when it comes to how many are going to be in there. Is it going to be males, females? Who knows? You could get a whole litter of females, right?
Has that happened?
We've never had a litter of just one sex, right? We've always
predominant. You've had predominant.
We've had predominant, right? We've we've had a litter of 12 where it was 10 males and 2 females.
Okay.
Shira, her litter, she was one of 2 females in the litter. But we very rarely have a problem placing our pups. We don't have a problem. Like I said, we turn more people away. If we wanted to, if it was all about the money, man, I could hire you. You could just sit out in the backyard, Jack and Zero off all day long. And
I got big hands.
They
They're
do.
not soft, but they're rugged.
But he likes
They get the job
He
done.
gets some edges.
He likes a little edge.
Okay.
He's a little freaky that way. But yeah, we could do that. We could just sit there. We have that ability, but we don't because we don't want to screw the integrity of the breed up. We don't want to just trash it. And this isn't a commodity for us. This isn't like we're selling T-shirts or we're doing. We're selling what we hope people get the same experience we do.
Yeah. For the love of the breed.
The love of the breed, the greatest dog you'll ever have, the greatest dog your kids will ever have. And when they grow up, they're like, man, I hope Chase and Tanya are still breeding when I'm older because that's the dog I want.
Yeah.
We want that. We want you to come back. We want people, when people come back, and we discount it when you buy, another puppy from us. Most places won't do that. Right? Most places are going to be like, oh, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't care. They just see
Dollar
signs, right? They're just seeing money. And what a lot of people don't know is we put a lot, right? I mean, we put a lot into our dogs, a ton.
What do you feed them? I see these things on Instagram where people feeding fish heads and fucking cow livers and olive oil. No, right? They mix up this thing. I can't afford that. Although recently, Chase, I went vegetarian, like some sort of Nancy skirt. Don't change your face on me. I feel good. I just can't walk up a flight of stairs without assistance.
He's been banned from crossing streets alone.
Man.
Wow.
I've craved a cheeseburger, but it makes me sick at the same time. Anyway, what are you feeding these dogs? Do you just feed them grain food or the regular?
No, so what we feed, we used to feed all raw, but it takes its toll on you because it's like having a butcher shop in your house.
So you fed them raw, snick meat.
Yeah. So a carnivore diet for a dog, right? It's a term I think most people don't understand. They actually there's other things they need than just meat, right?
Okay.
Just that muscle meat, right? So they need their organs, right? They need their nutrients. They need all their oils and things like that. But when you have a multitude of dogs, right, it takes its toll on your kitchen and
Absolutely.
on your pocketbook. So what we feed right now is we vary the
And you don't have to give a straight up plug for whoever unless
no. I'll tell you,
they're sponsoring you.
People ask all the time. No.
Okay.
No, we don't. Victor, we use Victor dog food is what we use a lot.
Where do you get that?
Chewy.com.
Oh,
There's
like get my
Chewy's
fish stuff.
Yeah, it's good. But Victor's been a very solid food for us. But we also still do raw. We do raw meaty bones. We go down to the butcher shop and buy huge packs of raw bones that they discard.
I remember when that shit used to be free. They used to give you that shit, those motherfuckers.
We actually, so there was it's no longer there. It's now changed its name. They sold out, but it used to be called Carson Meats. And years ago, I went down there and it was just this little box of a butcher shop. And then when I met my wife, I was like, yeah, I know this place, and we get raw, meat and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And Tanya's a vegetarian also.
Hey.
She's digging through the bins, these meat bins, pulling out deer bones, elk bones, cow bones, all this stuff. And yeah, our dogs love it. And we give it to them, and it's a good supplementation, and it's a good way to clean teeth and strengthen head muscles, clean the dog out. Like it's solid. But we mix kibble, raw, kind of in there in between. With puppies, we do the same thing. We introduce them. We basically want our dogs to not be that typical dog where people are like, oh, they ate something they're not used to. Their tum-tum hurts.
Yeah, right. They're shitting all over the house.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're like, what? No. Wait, do you think a wolf looks at a deer and goes, oh, that deer looks like he's from the South. I'm not going to eat him. I only eat northern deers.
Right.
No. Eat the damn deer. Like, you should have an establishment of, gut flora where you're able to handle, different things. But I'm not saying like every night we're like, no, you're eating beef. No, today you're eating sushi. No, it's not like that. But we vary it on flavors just to keep them, their stomachs healthy and strong. And
I like where your head's at. I ran into some people. I was coming out of PetSmart the other day, and they had a husky puppy. Full husky puppy. I know dogs.
on purpose.
They bought a husky puppy. They had a husky puppy. They bought it on purpose. And I've been down. I said, can I pet your dog? And they go, yeah. And the lady goes, her mother and father are both huskies. I wanted to pick that puppy up and slap her in the face with it. No shit, both of them are huskies because I'm petting a fucking husky, man. Shout out to Bruce Willis. Godspeed to you, Bruce, because you raised me, Wood, and you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Die Hard 1, 2, 3, 9, 12. Any other movies been in? Even when he did, what's the one he did with the old people? The fucking retired people. Him, John Malkovich, and the lady. Red Notice? Nope, that's
I know
The Rock.
They were like secret agents.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Isn't it
talking
just
about.
red?
No, Red. I think it's
It's
Red.
just Red.
Retired.
Yeah, Red and then Red 2.
Endangered,
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Great movies, man.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Bruce Willis. He has a compound in Idaho, so hopefully he listens to this and he comes down here and gets a puppy for, I don't know, what are you selling for? $275, $230? What is it?
The companion price.
Yeah.
Wait, you're talking about Bruce Willis.
$3,200.
I got my numbers screwed up.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Talking about Bruce, it's more like 5.
So shout out to you, Chase. I wish we could have had your wife on in terms of the training aspect of it, but here you are, and she didn't want to deal with assholes, and I can respect that.
Makes sense.
I can
Makes a
respect
whole
that.
lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
right
What
there.
is that? What you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. Chase, is that what you're saying over there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, you got it. Every now and again. Guys, hopefully, for those of you that stuck around live and watched this, I appreciate you hanging around, throwing in your comments. I will let Keith read those at a later time because, well, that's just what it is. And you know what our sponsors are, but most importantly today, go over and check out Utah Cane Corso. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
On Instagram. And then their kennel is Olympian.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And is that linked through Instagram? How do they
Yeah,
get to
so
that?
we have on our Instagram, we've got our Olympian page, so it's olympiancanecorso.com.
Okay.
And then we have our other business, which is tlcK9coaching.com, which is
That's the dog training stuff?
yeah, that's my wife's dog
That's when I
business.
can train a dog to help me rob people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Anything.
Help me hold, like DMX used to do. He had a pit bull that would help him rob people.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So I can do that?
yeah,
All right.
constant. I mean, it's
Little,
there's
little extra.
Yeah.
Little extra.
I guess
So go over there to the Instagrams and check out the other links. If you got a dog that needs some help, needs some training, hit them up. See what they can do for you. If it's right, do it.
I'm going to cut you off again, Wood, because I know you're about ready to wrap it off. But I got to tell you, these are some of the most, when we came up to his, what do you call it, facility compound,
Yeah.
and I heard those dogs barking, I looked over the fence, and literally, I was like, got the chills. Beautiful dog.
They are.
There's a question I want to ask you.
Absolutely.
In terms of trimming them and the docking,
I was
hang
gonna
on, get
ask
your finger
you-
off the button.
No.
We're
I
going.
was going to ask this, and
Sure.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Here's the encore.
Yeah.
Do you dock their ears and tails?
like me personally, or do we have them docked?
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, so we dock tails at 3 days old.
3 days?
Yeah, 3 days old.
Okay.
kind of like a circumcision. They don't remember it.
Right.
Okay.
Right? But no, we dock tails. It's traditional that you dock the tail.
You don't dock the whole thing. It's not like Adobe.
No, well, it's at the fourth vertebrae of the tail.
Okay.
Is on average. It all depends. Sometimes, depending on the vet, right? It depends on where they dock. But the fourth vertebrae, and you saw, they're pretty uniform at their length.
Mm-hmm.
But it's traditional to cut them. It's also a thing of you don't want to get hit with a baseball bat, and that's what their tail would probably be if we kept them. We do crop the ears. But we do have clients that don't want to crop the ears. Some people, like whatever reason they have, that's their reason. We crop the ears. One, it just looks better.
Okay.
But two, it's healthier.
So I'd reverse that. I go healthier than it looks better.
I would agree.
Yeah,
because it keeps stuff out of the ears.
Well,
right?
it keeps
when they're
it
flapped
constantly
over.
dry.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Air is constantly flowing
Yes.
through there. Where as opposed to a floppy-eared dog, right, moisture can get
So they
trapped
can't get
in
the
there.
infections and
Yeah.
the bugs and
Which
all
has
that
always
shit.
been weird to me with a Rottweiler versus a Doberman. Same dog, it's a steroid cousin, and his ears aren't cropped, but the Doberman's ears are cropped. And it's kind of the same dog. AKC standard. You guys aren't AKC registered because what?
No, we are AKC registered.
How come I never see him on the fucking dog show when I'm laying on the couch sick watching the dog show for 2 days straight?
So the Corso's been recognized by AKC for several years now, and it's just not. I'm kind of glad that it hasn't taken off to where they've gained in popularity quite a bit in the past 20 years.
Hence the price of 230. No,
Yeah.
300.
3,200.
Oh, I thought you said 300.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's okay.
I hear things weird.
No.
Go ahead.
It's better for a breed if they haven't gained super popularity, right? Because
Watered down.
it gets watered down. I mean, you look at the German Shepherd and you look at the English Bulldog. I mean, I could sit here and list pretty much every breed.
Standard poodles. Look at
That-
those things.
Actually, aside from their temperament, they're structurally pretty much the same.
But the temperament is
but
something
the
that's a
Temperament
problem.
is way different.
But they add,
used to be
but they're adding all the Goldens and the Labbers to the
it used to be.
doodles.
They used to be.
Damn it,
super
I want my
working
doodles.
dogs.
Used to be what?
They used to be super working dogs.
Yeah.
Like a poodle.
Yeah.
Right. It used. I mean, it used
Yeah.
to be a solid working dog. Now, no, it's not. And that's probably more. You can kind of see how society is a lot how dogs are.
Oh boy.
Right. If it's a softer society, you're
we
going to get
are.
a lot of softer dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You can put them in a purse.
And that's a problem, in my opinion, right? But that's me. Some people they don't care. They don't look at life where, in terms of preparedness, right? I look at my life as in terms of being prepared for a lot of things, right? Protection, financial, all those kind of things. Where I look at my dogs the same way. What are you doing for me? Right?
Okay. So what I hear with that statement right there is a German or a Yugoslavian word you could have said while we were out there and it would have ate all of us.
No,
those
it
dogs
would've-
would have fucking jumped on us.
It would have been Italian.
It would have been Italian.
It would have been Italian. Yeah, so that's how we see our dogs, and we expect a lot from our dogs, but we give our dogs a lot. So that's the way we look at our breed, and we think the breed should be continued to be bred as a working dog.
How come they're not on the American Kennel Club show?
They are.
No, they're not, because they're not on TV.
Oh, they're not because Keith said they're
what
not.
you're doing is watching the end. You need to watch the whole thing. Right?
The motherfucker's 3.5 hours long. I've watched it. They're
They're
on there?
4 hours
they're
Okay.
long.
How long have they been on there? How long have they been registered at AKC?
So they've been. I don't quote me on the exact year, but it's upwards of 20 years now that they've been recognized.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Put your finger back on the button, Wood.
Are you okay with?
Yeah.
I mean, we can keep,
No.
So-
If I come up with something, I'll fucking bring it up.
I know you will. So, anyway, thanks guys for joining the Keith Show. Yeah, go check him out on his Instagram. If like I was saying before, if you have need for some canine training, some help, hit him up. Let him know. And I'm sure if they won't bring the dog in, they'll at least give you some tips and pointers. And let's help the Cane Corso breed out here in Utah. The best one in Utah. Of course, we'd have the best only. on this
Absolutely.
show.
Absolutely.
It just makes sense that way.
Yeah.
And with that, guys, Chase and Keith, I got to tell you two gentlemen, today has been nothing short of a pleasure.
Bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee, yay, we out.